Hello, Hollywood Times viewers. Today we have the great pleasure of welcoming author Kay Jones. She's got a great book out. You might be able to see it there behind me. The Cousins Are Coming. And who doesn't like cousins to come and visit? So, Kay, let's talk all about your children's book here.
I'd love to. Thank you.
And how are you,
Um,
by the way?
I'm great. I'm great. Um, okay, so first I'm going to say I didn't set out to write a book. This is just one of those little things that sort of takes a path. So I have five grandchildren, and I wrote The Cousins Are Coming for them, and I used their little personal pictures in the book. I did it on my computer, ran it off, gave it to them because they love to act out things. And they love to have all of us sitting in chairs with tickets and, give us popcorn. So I did this for them and they loved it. And they kept redoing it. And then the next time we were together, they would do it again and 3 or 4 times. So I thought, okay, they're loving this. And so I decided to read it to my class, and I used it as a mentor text when we were doing some poetry things as it's written in verse.
Yes.
And they loved it, and they kept asking for it again. Hey, can we have that cousin story? And so I thought about it, and I thought, okay, I'm getting some really positive feedback. Maybe I need to look at this and fix it, make it worthy to send somewhere. And so I did. I worked on it for a little while, fixed it all up. I fancied it up, proofed it up, and then I sent it away. And the publisher said, "Yeah, I think you've got something. We'd really like to publish this." And I waited a while. They said, there's a little wait time. We've gotten a little bit behind with COVID. So I waited almost 2 years,
Wow.
uh, probably a year before they started working on it. And then obviously, Peter Tremarco did a fabulous job, illustrating it. And it took him a while to illustrate it. I mean, there are 5 characters and then a couple of pets. So, that's a lot to take through a book. So it wasn't just a quickie, just one character per page. And then in May, the end of May, it was like, oh my goodness, a book is born. We had a book. So that's sort of the short of how it came about.
So I see. So the cousins are coming. So you've got a couple of girls. So these are I see there are 5 kids. So these are your grandkids.
They're
And
actually
one
not
of is that a dog and a cat that you actually own?
No, that's an interesting story. Okay, so I really have 4 girls and a boy. So for the book,
Okay.
it was changed. So when I wrote it, it was 4 girls and a boy. And then I wrote it with 2 dogs, because each family has dogs. And so that obviously was in my first story. And one night, as Peter got started on the book and doing the cover, he did the cover first. And he said, could we just make one of these pets a cat? And Peter's kind of a cat, likes cats, kind of a cat person. And I thought about it and I said, well, sure, make one of them a cat. And so it's really interesting. The cat, I think, that he put in kind of steals the show because the cat hides on every page. I think there's just one layout in which the cat isn't there. He felt like he couldn't get it in right. It's the outside layout where they're squirting each other. So that there's not a cat there, but there's a cat on all the other pages hiding in the background, sort of that lurking little cat that's looking over, and turned out to be great. And the adults don't necessarily notice the cat, but every time I read it to kids, I mean, they notice. And so then the debate becomes, well, who's the star, the cat or the dog? Well, the dog is, trying to catch icing and he's playing with the kid. So, yes, he's the star. No, no, no. The cat's the star because the cat hides in the background. And so it's kind of turned into a funny thing. But yes, I have 2 pets in it, but they're not necessarily the ones in our family.
Yeah. So this particular, when you thought about it, because are you a teacher? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then this story is just something that came to you about, your grandkids wanting to be around their cousins, or experience you had as a kid.
It came because of my grandkids. My grandkids are just like, really, when the cousins come, it's like, the cousins are coming, the cousins are coming. And they really do like meet at the door and scream and yell and jump. So it's really, um, and so it was prompted by that. Now, as a teacher, I will say I hear more cousin stories than any other story, more than siblings, more than about parents. I hear cousin stories constantly. And especially when there are holidays, they will come back from the holidays and it's all about cousins. So it's interesting the role that cousins do play in your life and how deep the roots go with cousins. What's also been interesting is at all of my book signings, adults are buying the book for their cousins. One of my friends actually called me a couple of weeks ago and said, okay, I've got to tell you what I did. I bought 5 of your books because my son was getting married and my 5 cousins were coming. And at the rehearsal dinner, I gave my cousins the book with a memory written inside, and they loved it just more than anything. Because when do 5 adult cousins get together that have kids and live in different places? So it was really meaningful. Another little couple came and they were getting books and they were taking them to a family reunion. And I said, well, are they for your grandchildren? And they said, oh my goodness, no, we have grandchildren, we have great grandchildren. These are for our cousins. And I thought it was just such a sweet little story. Number one, that, I mean, they were probably in their 80s, that they still had their cousins and they felt so blessed. And that they were taking this book was going to their cousins, which I'm sure would be sharing with grandchildren and children, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I have my grandson, my youngest one is 4, and he loves, us to read and pictures, that I'm turning the pages and there's here with the water balloons, and he knew what that was. Look at, they're throwing water. And so whenever we're with his cousins, he doesn't have as many because they're all older, but yet, that's what a cousin is, so what a great idea that your friends and women or people are doing, because it's true. We all have cousins and we all have stories. And my cousin who I grew up with, who I see quite often, I thought that's, and he's got grandkids too. I go, that would be pretty awesome. He just had a birthday, and that might be a pretty fun thing to give him a copy of it, so that, hey, look at cousin.
Well, and the it tells a story about cousins, obviously of family and love, but it also gives kind of the real picture of cousins too. It isn't perfect when our cousins get together. I mean,
Yeah.
you know that.
Right.
It's like, Mom, they're cheating, or Mom, they're leaving us out. It's those kind of things. And those are the real things. So the picture tell that side of the story. The pictures are like, scoot over, I can't see, or wait for me. And then on the next page is louder, wait for me. Those are the real little things that they sort of they learn from, they build from, and they learned how to just navigate life with their cousins.
So this is your first book, and a children's book.
I know.
How, that is like super cool. Okay, so explain to us, because there might be people out there that know this, but so this is an idea. Get some paper, you did your pictures. So when do you meet with the illustrator, and what do they really do as illustrator? They do all the drawings, but do they do it from your story, or do they show you different ones and you choose?
Well, I don't know how it obviously normally works. I can only tell you my experience. Peter Tremarco, who's a wonderful illustrator, he's an award-winning illustrator. He really loved the book and wanted to do it. And so he was great. I had art specs written out, explaining what I felt each page should have on it, because obviously the pictures were telling a little different story than the verse. So I needed to have some pretty decent specs there. But he took those specs and he just got really creative with them. He worked with me and he would call and he would say, okay, Kay, you don't have a water scene in this book and cousins play in the water. I think you need a water scene. Could you write and get me something together for a water scene if you think you'd like it? Because I can do a great water scene picture. And it's like, yes, I can do that. Give me just a moment or two. And in a few days, I'll have you something for the water scene. So he really brought it to life, and he put his just little spin on it. He obviously did the cat, and I love it when he has them. I didn't say flick peas at the table. He has the kids flicking peas at the table. I didn't say when you're watching the movie and the kids are afraid. He added them throwing popcorn to the dog and the dog catching popcorn. He added those little artistic touches. I mean, he stuck to what I wanted and I thought should be there, but he took it to that next step and added some of those little artistic detail touches that just were awesome. I mean, he really brought that book alive, and I'm so thrilled with the way he did that.
I know when I saw, I hadn't seen the book when the PR people reached out. I just saw the cover like I have here, and I'm just looking at it, and it just like I go, you can see the grass, the blades of grass, and I go, the way they drew the kids are amazing. And I said, I have to get this book, and then I have to talk to the author because even thumbing through it now, the characters, the way they've drawn them, the faces, everything. I mean, to their toes. I mean, he is amazing.
He did a great job. I couldn't picture how he was going to draw the picture where they're all in bed, but he said, like, all in the same bed. I said, oh yeah, that's how cousins sleep.
Yeah.
Same bed, or they've got sleeping bags around the bed. So yeah, we want them all in the same bed in the same room. That's a really big deal. And I love how he piled them on, but yet you could still see all of them.
Yeah,
and
great.
His picture was just amazing. That's one of my favorite pictures in the book. And then he's like, the little one's like, where do I sleep? Like I'm kind of left out. Yeah. And he just did her singly on that page to call attention to that. Just the way he put the characters together, it just was awesome.
Yeah, it is. And then at your last page is all of them sleeping together. Great picture of the dog, and all of a sudden, where's the cat? Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you get to the last page and you got a great picture of you, which is going to be at you, and then those are your grandkids.
There they are.
I know. That is just got to be so special to say that their grandma or nana or whatever they call you, it has a book.
Okay. And I do. They are so excited. I've been to their classrooms. They thought that was pretty cool. I also, as a teacher, I wrote it with a lot of intent, thinking about them. There was vocabulary in it I wanted to call attention to. I mean, the rhyme and the beat I wanted, to tell the story to. Obviously, we know rhyme is such a precursor to reading. And at that time, we had some beginning readers in our family. And so those were things that I thought about. So there's a little teacher side of me in the book.
Yeah, I can see by reading it. There's rhyming. That's why it was, it kept my grandson's attention.
Yeah, for your 4-year-old, I mean, that's exactly what he needs. And I feel like kids don't read enough rhyme, and that's so important in learning to read.
Exactly. And that's why I really love it. And let me tell you, folks, you don't get one of these. You got to get many. There's all kinds of baby showers coming up. That there's, like she said, weddings that you're going to meet your cousins. Christmas is coming. There's a lot of holidays coming up this would be an amazing gift. It's so well.
Gone to many baby showers.
Yeah.
And think about Labor Day weekend coming up.
Oh,
How many people are going to be with cousins over the Labor Day weekend?
yes. And how do our viewers, how are they able to purchase the books? At Amazon and all other places?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's right there,
So
ready.
have you created yourself a website about the cousins?
I have an Instagram. It's really in my name,
Okay.
but the cousins there, yes. And I am in the process of getting a web page that will come next, and hopefully there'll be a second cousins book.
There better be.
Like things I'm thinking things of. I mean, I'm getting so many people giving me ideas, but I think along the lines, the cousins are coming at Christmas,
Yes.
or that sort of
The holidays,
yeah.
Thanksgiving, because those are the kind of the holidays
Cousins
that you
are
see
coming
each
for
other.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
So
And
those,
then for next year, before summer, you should do, cousins are a wedding because most of us get to bring our kids, the cousins get together over in the corner.
that's exactly right.
Yeah,
My, my,
you're gonna end
my,
up with 12 books for every month.
my grandkids think I should write about the cousins are coming on vacation. That's
Yes,
one to them
that's true.
because
That's
they
true.
do try to go on vacation together. They don't live in the same. I have a set that lives in the Dallas area and then a set that lives in the Chicago area. So it really is a big deal when they get together.
Yeah, and then you'll be paying homage to different cities, somewhere in Chicago, somewhere in Dallas,
Mhm.
Texas, and you can have some cows in there. All kinds of, oh my gosh, it's just ever ending.
Good. I love it. I love it.
Hey, in the background, you'll have South Fork. You can kind of tell your kids what South Fork is for those who don't know. What's
Think
up,
about
Grandma? South Fork? What's that?
think about the sites in Dallas or Chicago you could have the cousins go to.
Oh, yes.
Those two endless. They're just endless places to go.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, you'll be fun. Well, that's good. You got something to do for the rest of your life now and give us some
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you when the second one comes out.
I hope you will. I hope
So,
you will.
so let's talk about your career. What got you into teaching all those years ago? When did you start that?
Oh my gosh. 40 years ago. I've been teaching for
40.
years. I know. Um, I just I don't know. I was one of those kids that I had three younger brothers, and the cousins that I had were a lot younger than I was. So I was the babysitter, and I babysat in the neighborhood. That's
Yeah,
what you babysat, and that's how you earned your money.
money. Yes.
And so I just always liked kids. So I went into education. And for me, it was a great choice. I haven't looked back. I haven't wished I'd done anything. I've done a lot of things in education,
Yeah.
you know, taught many grades. I'm a GT, gifted and talented specialist,
Nice.
and I've been in administration. I just enjoy it. For me, it was great. It was also great when I was raising my kids, because I worked through it. I mean, great hours with the kids, and I was off when they were off. So for me, it just really worked nicely.
Yeah.
And now that I don't have children in my home, I've got all these grandkids, but I think I even love it more because they're my kids. These are like these kids in my classroom. They're my kids. So I just have a passion for it. And I know that's kind of crazy, but I love it.
That's great. Um, what was it like for you as a teacher during COVID? Was that must have been difficult?
I will be quite honest with you. It was crazy. I'm a real hands-on person. I'm a real like make the connection. We talk a lot. I'm in the room, walking around, looking at what's going on. Wow. I mean, you couldn't read what was going on with the child. It was really difficult.
Yeah.
And we did our best. And I'm just gonna put it like that. We did our very, very best, but there was something lacking, and that it was a tough time.
Yeah.
And
I was
wow,
working from home while my 13-year-old, which was 12 at the time, he's got a little bit of learning disabilities, dyslexia, and the whole class has different kind of issues. But it was tough because I could see the other kids on his screen, the Zoom, and I don't know how the teacher did it, because they wouldn't be paying attention. He wasn't paying attention. It was stressful for me, and I couldn't imagine what it was like for the teacher.
Yeah, I felt so sorry for the parents because they tried to get them to pay. I do little ones, so
Yeah.
they tried to pay attention, and so it made it all the more stressful for them. Then when we came back from COVID, that was a little difficult too because we were all wearing masks, and when you teach phonics and beginning
Oh,
reading, I teach second grade, and um, you couldn't see their mouths. You couldn't hear if they were making the sounds. You couldn't hear what they were. They couldn't see my mouth. And it's really important. There are words that, your mouth is open. There are sounds your mouth is
yeah.
closed. And so that was kind of a challenge too. But you know what? We made it.
Yep, we all did. It's hard to believe it was 3 years ago.
It
Isn't it?
is.
It
It is
just
hard.
really is.
And I feel like, wow, teachers that made it through that can pretty much make it through anything.
Anything, yes. Wow.
Parents that made it through that, they're
Oh
so,
my gosh. Yes. Well, we appreciate you taking the time, and we thank you for being a teacher, and for all the parents that you help out there and all the children who you give a great education to. It's a great age.
it is a great age. It's the best. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Just remember the cousins are coming.
Yeah, it's a great, great gift, and we'll make sure we'll put whatever website you have and links on how to get a copy of the book. Like I said, don't forget about us here at the HollywoodTimes.today. We will, follow you and have you back on the show when you have your next book. If it's
Perfect.
the Christmas one, we hope.
All right. Thank you.
We do appreciate it.